What if we told you that for the first time ever, we're now hearing Disney may indeed be blue skying ideas for a fifth gate? That's right, a new park at Walt Disney World. So when will it be, and what would it be, and what might it include inside said gate? Well, folks, those are all great questions, and we've got answers on the other side. It's a great time. It's a good time, folks, right here on TPP, where all the news should be fun. And today, the news is indeed very fun. So as we dive in, click the like button, drop a comment, and if you're not yet subscribed, 30K is on the way right here for TPP. All right, folks, it's time for a scoop like we have not had in a very, very long time. We're going to do so carefully, though, because this came from a source that we need to protect, and also because this is a big one. And I don't like getting these kinds of scoops wrong. So we're going to be a little bit coy as we dive into this. Keep some salt with you. It is rumor, it is speculation, but here's what we're hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at an area here on Google Earth of about 885 acres. Some might call it 900 acres. That is not in a location that we had ever heard before was going to be used for a theme park at Walt Disney World. Part of the reason it's not is because it's down south of certain lines that matter, and it's near Celebration. But things, they may be changing. And you can see here, we're looking at Disney World to give you some idea of where we're at. This is Magic Kingdom. You can see the lakes, and you can see the lagoon and all that. Down here, you've got Epcot, and you've got the boardwalk. You've got Hollywood Studios down here. Animal Kingdom is over here, just so you can get your bearings, okay? Just to get your bearings. And down here, south of the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, we have a source now that has been right on so many things. And I with trepidation, I am bringing this out there to say, we are now hearing for the first time ever, with seriousness, that Disney may be looking at a fifth gate. Now, I have never come out and said anything like this in the past. When others speculate on it or put videos out, we kind of roll our eyes. But here we are this time talking about it. And the reason is because we are told that Disney has to find a way to grow right now. 70% of the profits for the Disney company are coming from Disney parks. The majority of those are coming from Walt Disney World. And they have turbocharged, and that might not be a success. They are essentially giving out 2 tickets a day because they're doing all these special parties at Magic Kingdom. They're trying to find a way now to beat Epic. I can't tell you what's in the Blue Sky development. I can't tell you what the Imagineers are working on, but I can tell you that we've been told to look out for this, and that this might be the new resort area that they could be planning to put in an Epic style new theme park and hotels. This would not happen before Villains Land is done, we're told. So we are looking at something that would be off by maybe 10 years, maybe about 10 years from now, maybe 2035-ish is when this would be getting finished up and ready to go. But for the very first time ever, folks, we're hearing that this is where it would be. You can see this would be along I-4, and you can see this would extend the Disney World lines because the Disney Gate is over in this area. Yeah. This would also put it into new territory in terms of you would have cross traffic going from the Disney property from one side to the other. So, but this is the idea, and this is maybe to counter what Epic is doing. Let's go to Marv, then Ron, and then we'll keep moving on through the panel, but we'll just work our way down. Marv, your thoughts on a 900-acre area potentially being set aside at Disney for Blue Sky, a fifth gate in the next decade or so. What are your thoughts here? What IPs that could even be successful?
I think a fifth gate is 100% necessary, but I don't know if that's the place to put it. You want to put it next to one of the busiest highways in America where traffic jams are constantly happening. You're going to be able to hear horns blaring and stuff like that. I question the logic in that. But yeah, I think a fifth gate is logical. If they are actually looking at it, then I think that's a step in the right direction. I think they realize that Cars Land and Villains Land and Monsters Incorporated Land and Encanto Land, these things alone are not going to challenge Epic Universe. Now, if you had put all of these things together in a fifth gate, that would have gotten people excited, and that would have actually maybe, gotten people excited toward the future. People would stop talking about Epic as much. But right now, Epic is still the big new thing because it's got IPs like Mario, like Harry Potter, like How to Train Your Dragon, the Universal Monsters, things that are very, very much in right now. As far as IPs, I mean, I don't know, maybe if Disney does in fact buy Epic Games, maybe they would do some kind of Fortnite or, try to incorporate, gaming stuff into it. I can't imagine, like, because I would say like a heroes and villains park, which was, you know, rumored for so long, but they're already doing Villains Land in the Magic Kingdom. So yeah, I would imagine like maybe something like Disney Adventureland out in Paris, which actually does look pretty cool. And they've got that frozen area that looks amazing. I would say almost certainly if they were going to do a fifth gate, we get some kind of extended version of that Zootopia land they have in Shanghai, because that looks amazing. And that's the big franchise right now.
So this is an area that's big enough to house Animal Kingdom and Animal Kingdom Lodge. You've got lots of room for hotels to go down there. There's preservation area to the west of it that they can't go into, but and they've got some experience with putting in parks next to major thoroughfares. They do that with Disneyland at this point, but
yeah, but they don't like that. They don't like that they had to do that with Disneyland.
That's true. But people in chat are talking about, you know, this story that Disney might try to buy Epic by Fortnite. Ron, what do you think about the idea that Disney would try to get into the gaming industry, buy up a studio or something, and then drop video game IPs into a video game park?
Article about that now on geeksandgamers.com, by the way.
Yeah. I look, Mario is huge, and the Super Nintendo world, I think will. First of all, it's incredibly popular, obviously, at Epic universe, and I think it's going to expand. I think we might see Zelda, we might see Luigi's Mansion, who knows? So it could be a good idea, sure. But when I look at the land that you sectioned off there, the first thing that came to my mind is, dear Lord, what if they just decide to do DVC Village? And do nothing but sell more DVC, because that's they have so much money tied up in Disney Vacation Club, and it concerns me. You know, you saw what they did with quarantining that land off across from I-4, creating Celebration, and then dislodging it from Walt Disney World. They did the same thing with Golden Oak. It just, I hope, I really do hope that the creative minds could get together and come up with a fifth gate that would be logical and that would work. But here's the biggest challenge that I have with this whole idea, and that is the fact that over the last at least half decade, we have seen maintenance decline in the parks. We're seeing them build a whole bunch of stuff and then have to change it for budgetary constraints. Epcot, not the project that they were supposed to give us, has been a letdown, the Epcot expansion. Now they're expanding things all over Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, and they're tearing things down to do it. Hollywood Studios, same thing. Their track record is what would highly concern me if today's group of Disney people went forward with a fifth gate.
These are not the Imagineers you're looking for, I think is the way to say that.
Yeah.
Lauren, I'll come to you in just a minute. I want to go to culture as a lover of theme parks and the Walt Disney World Resort, and a guy of the DVC kind of attitude. He's a man who loves everything that Walt built. Culture, what do you think about the idea of a fifth gate? And we're looking at Disney Tourist Blog covering some of the what would be preceding reasons to have a fifth gate. Attendance headwinds after record revenue. Disney's got to figure out how to get that attendance up to make the investors happy.
They have a huge problem because nothing that they're going to do is going to be a surprise anymore, because they decided to have a political fight during the Chapek era that literally destroyed their ability to earn trillions and trillions of dollars. I think recently you either did a video or we've done a story on that at that park place, and all of that is true. They don't have the free reign anymore to develop land as willy-nilly or move around their conservation areas or do the exchanges without the state's involvement. There is no way to do what they could have done had they started the fifth gate a decade ago, which is something that we've been talking about for almost 15 years now. They needed a fifth gate a while ago, despite some really crazy accountant people in one of the forums I was in trying to say and suggest something different. We needed another park, and we needed more experience in the existing parks. And ultimately, that's not what happened. And look, our friend Ron is not wrong. Their maintenance systems have fallen into, I don't know, the abyss, because they're not even maintaining what they have now. They have very poor ride and queue designs that are going to be showing up here in the expanded areas. And while that area could be buildable land, and that's the bigger conversation, what is the most buildable land? Boutique parks were something, as Marvin mentioned before, that would have been perfect for this location. The problem is they got enslaved by IP and no longer have creatives. So my challenge to Ron would be, hey, name me an Imagineer you would trust that's in Disney's current employ to fix and not only what's there, but also to develop an entirely new theme park with a minimum of 12 attractions.
There's not one. I mean, there's literally not one.
And that's the problem. Creativity is not something we associate the name Disney with anymore. It doesn't matter whether it's theme parks or film or television. They're abandoning any of the creative outlets that they had as they slowly give up on all their cable offerings, Disney Channel, et cetera, and everything is essentially in a giant yard sale, or could possibly be. They have accumulated debt without any reason why we should suspect they'll pay it off. The Fox deal was a giant boondoggle from beginning to end. And at this point, the only company that's playing with house money is Comcast and their Universal Parks. If you look at the theme park industry right now, there's only one healthy company, Comcast Universal. And that's unfortunately the truth. Look at what they're doing in their animation division. We just talked about it for a while earlier. It's, Super Mario. Super Mario is going to have back-to-back hits and at a scale that Disney used to, compete with. Disney's no longer competitive in the creative marketplace because they subjected themselves to a board of directors that were dictated by the likes of BlackRock and Vanguard. All of this is interconnected. And anytime I try to line up all the points of light to the neo-Marxism that was, basically a new authoritarian leadership direction for not just Disney, but other, creative corporations to change the cultures to make it more acceptable to the population, the more it was rejected. And I would say this, Disney in almost everything at this point has been on the wrong side of an 80-20 issue. And that speaks to a lot. So I'm not quite as dour over AI or Disney as maybe somebody like Lauren. I just have an opinion that there has to be a shift somewhere, or Disney will basically find itself acquired by someone else.
Yeah, Lauren.
So Lauren, you recently went to Epic Universe and saw what the premier theme park in Florida looks like. Lauren, if Disney could somehow wrestle back some of the Imagineers that went to Universal and still work there, making this great stuff, what would you like to see at a future fifth gate at Disney? What is it they could do to catch up with Epic? You're muted, Lauren, much like Disney's Imagineers.
If it were me, I think that what they could really use is something that focuses on great literary works of the past and maybe a little bit of Americana. And a water feature might be kind of nice to have as well. So I would probably have the main feature of the park be something that you might call something like Rivers of America. And you might put a riverboat in there. And possibly some sections that would be paying homage to, say, Mark Twain. Something like a Tom Sawyer's Island. I don't know. There's a few things that you could do. Maybe like a wilderness fort, something like that. Something that would really harken back to what made America great and the kind of vision that Walt had. I think a lot of people would be interested in that.
Man, it sounds like you're right out there on the frontier, Lauren. You really know what they need to do at the future fifth gate. Man, I can almost see and hear those things somehow. It's like once upon a time, maybe in a different universe, I and others experience them. Who knows?
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.